And welcome everybody once again to another
Hello.
episode of Side Note. I'm Standard Lloyd, joined again by Speed Demon
Lloyd.
and Yakes87 Lord.
Hello, Sainted Lloyd.
Lord. You need to clear your ears out, mate. As always, guys, don't forget we are recording for YouTube, so if you don't want your comments or opinions on the video, please refrain from posting them. But these are going up on the YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out. Each episode's uploaded at the end of the show. And if you'd like to be a special guest on the show, please join the Discord. Details will be in the chat soon. And let us know. We'll get you on the show, arrange a time, come and share your views and opinions with us. Indeed. But with all that said, wow. What a week, Speed.
It's been an interesting week.
It's been interesting.
Right. So I'm not gonna kick everything off with our favorite purple platformer just yet. I'm gonna leave that for a little bit later. But I'm gonna talk about Valve's new Steam Deck. Now, reviewers have got their hands on the Steam Deck lately and have been just absolutely blasting it through its paces. And I don't know if it's disappointing or if it's just intriguing. So Valve estimates its battery usage between 2 and 8 hours, which is that's not pretty bad. Varying, and that hurts. I mean, 2 hours, that's pretty lame. But it takes, what was it? It takes 80 minutes to charge. No, it takes 100 minutes to charge to 80%, and it takes a further 80 minutes to charge to 100%.
Right.
Or something along those lines, which is just
what's causing the battery draw though? Why are we seeing such really low levels?
Gamers Nexus have, and along with several other YouTubers, have done extensive tests with various games, various settings, and all that sort of jazz. Gamers Nexus tested Devil May Cry with VSync turned off and uncapped frame rates, and managed to drain the battery in 87 minutes.
87 minutes.
87.
Wow. Holy molies.
Yeah. And apparently that was with a screen brightness of 50%. That was 87 minutes. That is disgusting. But apparently after adjusting certain settings and capping the frame rate, he managed to lengthen the battery life to 2 hours. I mean, it's still, that's... you've gone from you saved 30 minutes. And that's...
Yeah.
I mean, well, firstly, you've got a mobile device. Naturally, it's going to just... as soon as it starts to run hot, battery just out the window. But it should... I don't know why they haven't capped frame rates somehow.
Yeah. But isn't it cloud-based anyway?
No.
So is it installed on the device?
So it uses Steam Link, which allows you to play games from your PC to the device, but also allows you to store the games locally on an SD card and the internal SSD as well. So
were these tests done while they were off the SD, or were these done while they were pulling it live off the computer?
I'm not entirely sure. I would say they would have tested both.
If you're streaming from the computer, that's also going to use internet for the bandwidth, isn't it? It's going to use your power and everything to try and pull it.
Yeah, you're going to be using Wi-Fi, and as some of us know, when you're using an excessive amount of Wi-Fi, your battery just
dies.
Where did the battery go? I don't know. It was here a minute ago.
What I don't understand is that pretty much that's what my phone at the moment. You know, I play a game and it's like, oh, I'm at 50%. Oh, my phone's dead. But
sounds like racing the weekend.
What I don't understand, I missed that, by the way. Sorry. What I don't understand is it's a mobile gaming device at its core. Why is it not at a capped like? Why can't you enforce a capped frame rate regardless of what you're playing?
Well, does it fall back to the in-game settings though, rather than the device capping frame rates? Does it fall back to being within a game setting to hold that frame rate where it is?
I think yes, because these are basically PC games. Like the Steam Deck is a miniature PC, so it's going to treat those games as such. But I mean, these games are optimized for the Steam Deck OS. So why can't somewhere in there they just be like, right, well we're enforcing this capped frame rate. So instead of like getting like 250 FPS in a game, you get 60.
But then wouldn't that cause a de-optimization purely for the Steam Deck?
Well, no.
Because you'd have to then change the way the Steam Deck interacts with the game, technically.
It's just running the PC version of the games, isn't it? It's not like special version for Steam Deck.
No, I know, but I feel like this is quite a big issue because you're going to get people who are going to get this Steam Deck and are probably not going to change anything. So it's going to be running off whatever recommended settings it has there. And you're going to get like only a couple of hours use out of it.
So maybe they could put like a warning in there that, you know, check your game settings, blah, 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 for certain features within the game, not necessarily modify the game as such or lock the device to only produce 60 FPS, but maybe at least put a warning when you load into the, you know, if you want to get the most out of it, make sure you cap your frames at, you know, 30 frames will give you, you know, 8 hours, 60 will give you this. Maybe they can do a juggle in there, so at least the consumer, they can go, all right, I've got to go into the settings before I start playing the game.
Yeah. I mean, even something as simple as turning VSync on. I mean, that would make a huge difference.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, you're trying to power a graphics card on a battery. So the harder you make the graphics card work, the less battery life you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Yeah. Well, it is a mobile-based GPU, so it's the same GPU that you get in.
But it's not like a Switch game or a phone game, which have apps that are developed for that hardware.
Yeah,
you're pulling something optimized for a custom-built PC and saying run on this. So if you're using the Steam Deck to play like high-fidelity graphics games, you're not going to get the battery life you would get if you were playing a smaller, low-graphic game, an older game, something like that. So I think it really comes down to, like, if you have a Steam Deck, if you want like something that looks great that you can play on the go, then expect to not be able to play it very long. But if you're looking for something that's like, well, I got an 8-hour plane flight, but I want to play something that's just going to pass the time, then think about like lower res games.
Settings down, bringing your settings back to a more normal sort of device, like bring it back so you've got longer time.
Yeah, you're seeing just such a wide range of battery life. I mean, we're talking 87 minutes to up to 8 hours. So you really got to think about like, what game do I want to play and how long will it work? Because if you say, like, use the test they're talking, Devil May Cry, if you get a beefy enough battery to run that for 8 hours, if someone takes that and goes and plays like Stardew Valley, they're still going to have that like 4 times more playtime on that game. So now you're looking at, instead of 2 to 8, you're now looking at like 8 to 24 hours.
I'd be keen to see if they were actually playing off the SD card or internal storage, if they were actually like pulling it from.
So to speak. The internal storage doesn't matter because apparently the SD card can read just as fast as the SSD in the Steam.
Right, but what I'm saying though is if a game is stored locally, you're not then using the router, so to speak, in there to pull the data. So I'm wondering if the the storage itself, be it SD or internal, would actually also give you a longer life on the battery because you're not using that Wi-Fi continuously to pull that data.
Maybe.
So that's why I'm wondering how the tests were actually conducted and whether they actually did highlight whether they were off the SD, whether they're off the internal, whether they're off the actual computer.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It makes it really interesting.
I may look into that, and we might touch on that next episode.
Definitely something to look into, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Try and get some
No, I'll definitely
actual...
look at that. Also, Gamers Nexus tested Forza Horizon 5. Caps the frame rate at 30 FPS. Put it on, I think it was like medium graphical settings, and was able to achieve 4 hours of battery life. I mean, 4 hours is way more reasonable than 87 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I very much doubt you're going to be out and about playing Horizon 5 for 4 hours. It'd sort of be like,
it'll take you 4 hours just to load into the bloody thing.
It'd be like a bit here, a bit there. Yeah.
It takes you 4 hours to find something to do once you actually get in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They might. I mean, it's still early days for the Steam Deck, so they might, enforce tweaks or, put recommendations. Like it's a whole flappy booklet as soon as you open up the box, telling you not to do anything stupid with it, or otherwise you will have less than expected battery life. But I might look into that and recover that information next week. Does anyone remember Scalebound?
Yep.
I remember Scalebound.
100%. Yep.
How do you not, Yates?
I never heard of it until this news broke this week.
So,
I mean, look at the guy. Does he look like a Scalebound player? He spent 14 or 15 years on WoW. Does he know what Scalebound is?
Well, considering he plays WoW, he should understand what Scalebound is.
I never owned an Xbox, so...
Okay. So, Scalebound was like a dragon story-based online game. Kind of, that's the best description I give it. But it was announced in 2007 that it was cancelled. It was very sad because I was actually looking forward to that. I remember watching the teaser trailer during E3, and I was like, "Oh my god, that looks amazing!" And then, like a year or two later, it was like, "Well, we're gonna get rid of it now." So it was very sad times. But Scalebound creator Hideki Kamiya is really pushing to talk with Microsoft again, mainly Phil Spencer, to get the project back up and running. I am all for this. Because they had a lot of trouble with the game. They were working with Unity, which they didn't really know much about. They were working with online systems, which they knew nothing about. Pretty much everything was working against them. I think that's why Xbox just pulled the plug on the whole project. But the devs are just all on board to try and get this game back up and running.
I mean, Scalebound would definitely be a good one to get back for sure.
Yeah.
I think it would appeal to quite a few players in that RPG range again. Like, I think it would pull some more people back into that RPG style.
And I believe IO Interactive is also working on a game that is very similar to what Scalebound was. So that's going to be interesting to see if that's actually going to happen.
See which way that shapes up would be interesting to find out, yeah.
I'd love to see it come back. I think like it's the kind of game that we don't really have on the market at the moment. So I think it'd be good. This one. So a petition to get a refund for Battlefield 2042 is well underway. The petition started as players claimed EA used false advertising and gave them a game that was unplayable. No, surely not.
You don't say EA wouldn't do that.
So here's the funny one.
EA.
They say unplayable, but yet it's still got a player base that's playing the game. So
it is.
I mean,
the game is still.
People
I mean, it's in no worse a state than Horizon is.
People will
but it's not complaining about that too.
Match and say the game is unplayable, despite playing 200 matches without any issues.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
that one
right,
that glitches out that they were winning, and then they get dropped before they can win, and they're like, "Oh, this is unplayable. This is unfair."
Yeah,
but apparently the game is still plagued with bugs and crashes galore. So it's interesting that people have persevered for such a long time.
my question is though, if these people are there whinging about that, why haven't they whinged about Horizon and getting a refund on that, considering that's been busted since day one and hasn't been improved? You know what I mean? Like you can't just target one genre and say, "Hey, you guys are shit. Give us our money back." When there's multiple games across all platforms that are busted right now.
I don't think bugs necessarily classify a game as unplayable. Like when I think unplayable, I think a game that when you try to launch it, it crashes. You can't even get into the game.
I see unplayable as I see unplayable as if I can't do what the game is designed to do. So, like, if say Horizon 5, for example, you know, if there's a playlist, right, that is a part of the game, and if I can't do that, that then declares it unplayable. Like I can't do what the game wants me to do.
And that's what I'm saying with Battlefield 2042. I don't believe that is the case.
Yeah.
But in saying that, Battlefield 2042 was the worst game released in history. Like, if you remember back, it got that title.
Yeah, I do remember back, but
compared
is the
to
game
Horizon
technically
5, which
unplayable?
was
I feel like trying to get a refund for unplayable may not necessarily be the case. I think we're probably looking at more of like, you know, when No Man's Sky, when that came out, and they had promised all of these things that were in fact not in the game. That's an excuse to go on a refund camp. Same thing with Warcraft 3. Yeah, Cyberpunk. I'm thinking Warcraft 3 Reforged. Like all those games had like big promises of like, this is what the game's going to be. You're going to be able to do this and that and that. And then the game comes out and half of that stuff that they promised isn't there. Then that is a situation. It's like, okay, let's refund that because I'm not going to pay for half of the game. Like when you sit there and tell me, here's the game, that's a refund. When it comes to like bugs and stuff, like I don't necessarily know. Like I feel like unplayable is more of an over dramatization of what's going on.
See, I think Steam, I mean, like Steam had that policy in their refund system where if you're over 2 hours, you know, then you really don't get a refund because, you know, you've kind of already gone 2 hours. So how long do you really need to play a game for to realize that it's not there?
But
Does that make sense? Like,
it could take 2 hours, depending on the game. It could take 2 hours to gather enough information to back your decision of a refund.
Yeah, I feel like
2 hours is a long time.
I feel like 2 hours is too small, though. I think it should be more like 6 to 8.
Like, but you say let's say, you know, because Battlefield's an online game, right?
Yep.
So I think 2 hours is a very short time when you're playing an online game like that.
Right.
Like you don't, because you can't really go, oh, you know, that dude clipped through a wall and shot me. You can't just really base a refund off that. You've got to have a large amount of information for that to be based on. Like smaller games, if they're like single player games, like 2 hours, that's reasonable. But for multiplayer games, you need more than 2 hours. You have to.
See, I think that's hard to kind of gauge too, because like Steam especially have faced that in the recent past where certain games, especially being those of an indie platform, you can finish the game in an hour and a half, and then you're getting a refund. So it's actually costing more to Steam to refund it than what it was to actually get the game on the platform in the first place.
Yeah.
But I feel Battlefield, I mean, the games last, half an hour. So 2 hours, that's 4 games. If you haven't got enough data in that time frame, I mean, you got to wear it. I mean, at some point, you have to wear it as a consumer. You have to say, hey, like, if a refund policy for anything bought outside, like a vacuum cleaner, if you take it home and it's working, and then within the hour it doesn't, like, it's not doing what it's supposed to, you're not going to then proceed for another hour and persist and go, oh, it's still not working, I'm going to go and take it back. You're going to take it back at the first sign of an issue. So I think at some point, us as consumers and players have to kind of put our hand up and say, look,
but that is,
I bought it, it's not what I thought, and it's broken, but I've got to wear it,
But that is also assuming that you find said bug within that time frame. Like, say, you play for the 2 hours, you're like, oh, this game is great, and then you find that bug, that one game-breaking thing that just really deters you off that game. Then what?
Yeah, but
you're stuck with it. No matter how much you dispute it, you're stuck with that game then.
But it's taken you 2 hours to find it, so it's clearly not a game-breaking bug.
Yeah, but it depends.
If it's a game-breaking bug, it's there continuously.
Right, the GTA 5, for example, you could be on that game for fucking weeks before you even come across something that is broken.
Right, so it's not a persistent bug that's breaking the game.
If it's a bug, but it could be.
But it can't be if you've been playing for hours on end and it's not there.
I think what we need to look at is less of like a broad refund rule and go dynamically by game. Like you took I feel like it should be like a percentage of like the developer should say like this is my average playtime for a game. And then say it's like 15% of what that average playtime is what you have for like a single player game. And then for like multiplayer games, something larger. Like I think like a one size fits all refund policy doesn't really work.
No,
doesn't work when you're talking about hours.
No, there's too many variables when it comes to different games.
I think as gamers, we've also become very like targeted too. Like, we're trying to target every game. We're trying to find a way to prove that game is shit. Like, we're trying to prove, like, for example, you got your Gran Turismo guys that are trying to prove that Horizon's shit, and vice versa. You got Call of Duty trying to go against Battlefield against Call of Duty. I think you're just getting those clusters. And, even to the point, like the hackers, that make these cheats and shit say, oh, it's not worth us playing it because there's no people playing the game. Well, again, like, like that shouldn't be coming into it. Like, if you're known to be creating cheats and hacks for a game, your opinion really should be thrown out the door and forgotten about. Look at the player base. How many stable players do you have in the game? Because if the game is unplayable, you're not going to have that player base. Like, you're not going to have that group of players playing the game.
Yeah, but you are going to have those dedicated people though who are just going to play it regardless. And I mean, like you got those content creators who are going to utilize those bugs and glitches and
100%.
Just absolutely have a blast with it. So there's that too.
I mean, some of the bugs in games actually make the game more enjoyable and more fun. Like, I'm not going to lie. But then there is the ones that just make it completely just, blown out of proportion. They shouldn't be there.
Like, there are points in the game where you will hit something and it'd be like, this is now unplayable. Like, I cannot play this game anymore. But, there are other times where you do accidentally break the game and you're like, this is hilarious. And you hope that it kind of stays in the game, but you don't want it to stay in the game.
I guess the question with the refund has to come back to, is the game technically unplayable? Or is it only because you've chosen it to be unplayable? Because it doesn't suit you? I guess that's what we have to answer. I guess that's what the companies have to resolve, and first and foremost, and say, right, if you deem it unplayable, too bad. If the developers and us deem it as unplayable due to the amount of bugs and shit in the game, then fair enough, we'll refund it. I think that's where the dynamic structure has to come into it, based around that situation. Because I don't think, like Yates said, like the time frame is, it's hard to balance. It's hard to be fair on a time scale when you've got like indie developers who their game might only take an hour, but then someone like Battlefield, you may not pick it up for 4, 5, 6 hours, as you said before.
Yeah,
So
I think
it's a dynamic thing.
I think if it's an absolute core and vital piece of the game, and it doesn't work, that is unplayable.
That's where the technical side comes into it. If it's a technical breach that makes it unplayable, fine. But if it's you that chose no, it's too bad. Deal with it.
I also wonder, like, when are like gamers, like as a community, going to just stop pre-ordering? Because time and time again, companies will be like, "Oh, pre-order," and then people will like, "Oh, cool." They pre-order off of the hype, and then they get an under-delivered product, and then just get upset and get angry. So, like, even me myself personally, I've stopped pre-ordering things because I got burned on a few of them, and I'm just like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait for a game to come out, and if it looks good, I'll go get it. If it's a buggy mess, I will just set aside.
You generally know they're going to go on sale in the first week anyway, because they're going to push to those people who didn't pre-order.
Yeah.
So you can generally get it on sale anyway. And like we saw it in your community, Speed, you know, with what Obtained did. He went and bought the big bundle for Forza and just got disappointed by it. You know, the wheel didn't connect up, this wasn't working, that wasn't working, things like that, you know.
I mean,
but yeah, I mean, pre-orders are a waste of time now.
Yeah, but I bought the same bundle, and I'm on the fence about that purchase. But it's like for Cyberpunk, for a prime example, right? That game was overhyped. I mean, there was so much hype revolving around that game that, I mean, I loved it. I loved what they were showing, and I'm like, this is going to be really good. I really want to play this game. But I'm like, it's now there's too much hype around it now. It has too much potential to fail, and that's what happened. It had way too much hype, and it fell flat on its face as soon as it came out of the gate.
Us as gamers in general, we fall into that sucker trap of the hype, you know, and you have your fanboys. So you're going to have your Call of Duty players, no matter what. They're going to release a new Call of Duty. It could be the world's biggest pile of dog shit. They're going to go and pre-order it because they're fanboys of it. That's just what they're going to do. And, you know, again, it's the same with like Gran Turismo, the hype around GT7 right now, and everyone's just going to pre-order it. But again, you've got the offset of people who sort of sit back and go, oh, you know, I got burned on like 5 pre-orders right now. I'm really just going to wait until that comes out and check it out. You know, I'll watch, you know, like AKA, I've got my PlayStation. I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm going to go and watch Yates play it. You know, because I see him racing all the time. So he's going to give me a good idea of what's going on. So you kind of generally gravitate to those guys who play those sorts of games, and you kind of then go, oh, okay, he's enjoying it. He's saying this is better, that's better. Okay, so the gameplay element is good. Just the rest of the crap is just overrated. So I guess in a lot of ways, you got two groups of people. You got your fanboys, and you got your kind of guys who sort of sit back and go, don't really want to touch it, but I want to see it. So they just basically wait until it comes out.
Sorry, we all read this. We're all reading the same thing at the same time. I
was reading while I was talking.
Yeah, and
I think the other issue we're facing is you've got your big guys, like, you know, your top level streamers are getting paid to promote that game. They're getting money to promote, you know, Battlefield. Oh, you know, come play Battlefield. It's the best thing. You know, this is all that. You know, and then you've got the ones who kind of like don't want to do that. It's hard. It's an industry it's just hard to deal with. No matter how you look at it, there's always another side to the other side of what you're trying to get to.
But I think you'll see a natural progression with games coming out. If they are too hyped up and they do fall flat, then you're going to see a lot more people not pre-ordering games. obviously you're still going to have the fan base pre-ordering a game, but the general populace are just not going to do it.
I think we see a lot of sales in the first week because we are seeing pre-orders just tailor off, and that's why they start putting it on sale in the first week, because they don't have that initial impact on the pre-order now.
Yeah.
You know, I think they put it on sale because they have to get the player base in there. And because they don't have that, it's hard. And like you said, Speed, the first 3 days on the beta for Forza, the early access beta, whatever you want to call it, it wasn't too bad. But once it opened up, it just went over the cliff and just fell off. So it's really hard in that aspect.
I mean, again, like, I mean, it wasn't even technically an open beta. I mean, the game was
it was
finished, done, dusted. It was just early access. But
yeah,
I feel like Horizon 5 should have had some form of beta. Now, I think we should promote having betas open to the public.
For sure.
Often.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely.
Absolutely necessary for game development to have that beta or even an alpha.
And not just that, an open beta that's open to the masses. Get tons of people in, let them see the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
And just open it for the weekend and just have it completely open. Just have people jam into the game and just push it to its limits. That's how we're going to find out where all these problems are. But
I mean,
again, this is I've spoken on this before. Like, this is why I promote early access games, because it's very clearly labeled early access. The game is in development. You can expect bugs. You can expect problems. But because it is in active development, so many people play those games and it does get fixed relatively quickly. And it's based on community feedback. Yeah, it's based on community feedback. And they just make the game better and better. That's why Sea of Thieves is where it's at now. Because was early access.
Look to New World. Look to New World as a classic example where they do listen. It was falling down on itself. They had to fix things fast. So they implemented things. Yeah, it might not have been great the way they implemented it or the way they went about it, but at least they were doing it. They were pushing it down to try and make things better for the longer haul. I think just about every game should go into early access.
Yeah, it's like
every game.
Grounded's exactly the same.
How much has that come along?
That is a massive game, and if they waited until that whole game was finished, we wouldn't see that game for at least another 15 years.
No,
honestly, it's like it is huge. But that game has progressed so much because of the feedback from people playing it. Like, just small tweaks. Yeah. Like, I played it last night, and just the tweaks in the UI and how things operate, and it's so much better now compared to however many months ago it is that I played it. So,
I mean, that's not to say it was bad when it first came into early access, but
no,
everything's got to develop. Everything has to come forward. I mean, a classic example would be WoW. Like, when it first came on, it wasn't fantastic, but the way it's developed, the last update to this update, all those things, it's just, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just development. You've got to put things in. You've got to listen to your feedback.
Yeah. And,
absolutely.
Actually, can we just touch on speaking about feedback? And you asked this before the show. Lost Ark. Holy moly. You want to talk about listening to feedback? Those guys, unbelievable with their support structure straight away. Like, it was crazy. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's been a storm on the Steam store. It's been a storm on streams across the platform. It's being free to play, I think, is what's caused it. But they were really, really fast on getting certain things fixed so you could actually create character, log in, play the game.
Yeah.
Really get into the feel of the game. I think that was fantastic.
They delayed the free-to-play launch by like 6 hours because of potential server issues when they brought everything back online after maintenance that morning.
Yep.
So, I mean, and not only that, but they added servers, and then they also just temporarily were like, okay, all of you guys coming in today, you cannot play where everybody else is playing. Play on these new servers. We'll get everything online, and now you can actually go to those servers and play on them.
So the early access servers, so those who basically supported the game, like by getting a founders pack, we were on certain servers. The new players on the free to play, they couldn't get into those servers. Oh, Yikes! Just bounced.
Discord.
Stop pushing buttons, Jakes.
No, Discord does that thing where it just randomly updates when you're using it.
Oh yeah,
that should be a thing.
Discord.
So yeah, they stopped the new players going into the existing servers and then put them in another server. So it kind of separated the two to still give everybody access really quickly, and they did it. Like you said, Jakes, it was like 6 hours.
Yeah.
It was like 6 hours.
It wasn't very long at all.
It was really fast. So,
and not only that, but the experience I had coming in as a free to play player on when I finally got in that opening day was actually very good. I mean, I logged in. I didn't have any server queues. I didn't have any lag or anything like that. I got in and just played the game. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
They did a really good job with the launch.
Yeah.
I have to say, it has been one of the best launches in the last 18 months.
Oh, for sure. And I haven't run into any weird game-breaking bugs other than like this weird bug. So like I got mining today and I'm mining the copper ore and I'm getting iron ore from a copper ore.
So you're going to request a refund on that game, mate?
No, I'm not going to request a refund, but I'm just like, I'm very confused. I don't know if that's just like a translation error or what.
It probably would be.
Yeah.
It was just like,
that's been a really good launch. So, big praise for that company in general. They have done an awesome job this week with that launch, and it's a lot of fun to play. Actually, I'm not going to lie. I just don't like the click to move system.
Speaking of awesome companies, MSI has announced their brand new MEG Z690 GODLIKE Intel motherboard.
God damn.
If you're aware, MSI GODLIKE motherboards are the cream of the crop. They are used by overclockers everywhere. They are the shit. It is absolutely loaded to the brim. It contains 6 Gen 5 M.2 slots. I didn't even know we were up to Gen 5 in M.2, let alone to have 6 of them. It's got 10 gigabit LAN, Wi-Fi 6E, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, 8 USB 4.0 ports, 2 PCI Express 5.0 slots, and support for DDR5. It is a gorgeous looking motherboard, and it is just an absolute work of art. And it will cost you an eye-watering $2,099 US.
I just dropped that link in chat. If you guys do want to go and check that out in your own pace, feel free to grab that link, go and have a look.
It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the GODLIKE motherboards are just fantastic, but damn. It's like that is expensive and completely over the top, but that is why it's called the GODLIKE.
Like,
it is fantastic.
It would definitely be something to put on the ultimate checklist for sure. I mean, 6 M.2s. Come on now.
Right.
6
of them.
I mean, how fast? Yeah, well, you can have like 1 for your OS, you can have like 2 for media, you can have 4 for games.
But you got like,
see how fast that thing would be.
But you got 10 gigabit LAN, which is great. You're gonna have a custom router set up for that. Wi-Fi 6E, which is the latest and fastest Wi-Fi out at the moment. You got 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports. Thunderbolt 4 is just stupidly good.
Yeah.
USB 4.0. I didn't even know we're up to that yet as well.
I didn't know either.
Yeah, apparently we are. Yeah.
So what do they know that we don't know? What are we missing in the computer industry at the moment?
They clearly know that shit's coming and they're getting ready for it. And the PCI Express slots, there's literally only 2 PCI Express slots, and they're both 5.0. I don't know if they both run at full speed simultaneously.
What power supply would you need for that board?
God knows. I would say at least 1,000 watts.
Is this the start of that dual power supply system we were talking about? You need 2 of them to run that board.
It could be.
One for the board, one for the graphics card, one for the peripherals.
We could be heading into that age of dual PSUs.
Can you just imagine you've got a power board down on the floor just for all your power supplies to plug into, so you can power your motherboard, your CPU, all your bits inside your computer.
Honestly, if you had
your
that
400
motherboard,
fans you're going to need.
If you had that motherboard, you would want to have the best looking setup you've ever seen in your life.
Absolutely.
It would have to be absolutely astonishing. You wouldn't even. You'd probably just turn it on and just look at the case, just staring at it for hours on end.
Wow.
You wouldn't need to turn it on. The Wi-Fi would be that fast. You'd think about it and then just pick up and turn it on for you. Like, oh wow! Then that Wi-Fi is really good.
The speed. The only thing that disappoints me is that it's for 12th gen Intel. That is apart from that.
Give them time.
Yeah, I know. I know
they
can
do a Ryzen version.
I know that the 12th gen Intels can do the job and they can do it well, but I feel like that paired with a next gen Ryzen, like a Threadripper, that'd be some juicy shit right there.
I mean, if your only like choke point is because you're 12th gen Intel, I feel like you're good. If that's your only complaint point,
it's got Intel in it. I'm a Ryzen man now.
Yeah.
Sorry, and I think the Threadripper would just, like Speed saying, that Threadripper would just, oh my goodness, damn.
It is juicy to think about, and Banjax, I'm going to say, no, it is not illegal to marry a PC, because I probably would marry that one.
Just think about the GPU, think about the power supplies. It's probably the hottest thing you'd have in your house too.
So on an interesting note, Build-A-Bear, completely off topic, Build-A-Bear has launched its After Dark series of toys. It's obviously specifically made for adults. They are not explicit in any way, so don't get the wrong idea, but definitely appeal to a mature audience. You can Google that. You can find out.
I've dropped the link in chat.
Yeah,
I've just dropped the link
there. It's not like sexualized, but it's very adult nature.
I mean,
they're very cool. They are very cool.
I mean, I clicked on this link and I'm greeted by a lion wearing a silk robe
in front of a fireplace. Yeah,
I feel like it's more implied sexualization.
It is. It's very much implied.
But it's not.
It's adult humor at its best, really. That's.
I mean, it's not. It's not blatantly like flooding it there. It's not. Showing anything like that. But
of course it is.
It is definitely. It's there.
Yeah.
I mean. We told you we find weird and wacky shit. We find it.
We definitely find the weird and wonderful. So heading on to Team Purple news, and there's quite a bit of it this week. So Jessica Blevins has announced that she is planning to step down from her role as Ninja's manager.
This just
Obviously, the move comes following her apparent legal threats against Pokemon, which we did cover
that on the show last week,
or a couple
of weeks ago.
She she made an announcement saying, we're realizing that that there will come a time, and it may come sooner rather than later, that I won't be his manager anymore. But with how much I'm doing, there's going to be a time when we need to hire a manager that we can trust. Someone who eats, breathes, and sleeps Team Ninja like I have done, and I can focus on my own stuff and take a step back.
Well, I don't think anyone's going to eat, sleep, or whatever Team Ninja like she does.
Yeah, right.
No
That's exactly what I was thinking when I read that the first time. Basically, what that's saying is that Jessica has absolutely 100% put her fucking foot in it and is regretting all of her actions.
Pretty much.
So
yeah.
is now taking a step back, being like, "Damn, I really, really messed up.
She's too much.
I can't deal with this." Yeah.
And if she's to focus on her own shit, she needs to get her name out of that and focus on her stuff, not trying to barge her way in there.
Yes. But on Pokemon, Pokemon has unofficially yet officially announced. It was mainly a Twitch fuck up. Twitch accidentally leaked the information. That she will be staying on Twitch. She has decided to stay. And in celebration of such, she is giving away a Tesla Model S.
Yay.
Basically, more money than it's
free car.
That's
well. I mean, what does that physically say for the Twitch platforms? I mean, if she can give away one of those cars, she's obviously getting paid more than
she's got a comfortable
needed.
I mean, this is the same streamer that not too long ago got like a slap in the wrist for just streaming copyrighted TV shows for hours and hours at a time.
She was doing a live reaction to the Avatar anime series and got banned, and everyone's like, "Oh, she got banned." Well, of course she got fucking banned. You're streaming copyright material. What do you expect?
This is also the same streamer that got hate rated from a person on YouTube who's now friends with him, and they went out for fucking lunch.
Yes.
Can we just call publicity stunt, please?
Yes. And TV meta. Yeah.
TV meta, exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy. About as crazy as Just a Minx. Now, we covered Just a Minx last week with her overly sexualized hot tub stream that very clearly had strippers in said stream.
Yep.
She has received a second ban. So obviously she got a ban after that stream. She has since received her second ban after using a derogatory slur during her latest live stream. I will not repeat said slur. It's not as bad as you think it is, but I'm not going to say it. She stated, "The thing is, I try to do some form or shape of comedy online to get that gasp or shock value from you guys. With that, I do say things that are walking a fine line." Further explaining that instead of being on the line, she needs to walk behind it. Twitch has...
You figured this out as a streamer? Wow.
Yeah. Twitch has stated that this is her final warning and the next ban will be permanent. So they've obviously just put their foot down, which they should have done, because, I mean, I'm all for pushing the line in sake of comedy, but there are some lines you just don't cross. And that's...
But I mean, if you have to be like warned that you're stepping over the line as a content creator on any platform in the world doing any content creation, you really have issues, do you not?
Yeah, I mean, we all know Twitch has issues, and I will state that Matt Pat from Game Theorist released a video today on this very topic about Twitch just not holding its ground. in regards to anything.
Right.
So,
That's what I'm saying, though. It's like you're a creator. You should know this shit by now.
yeah. I mean, you have, but you're a partnered streamer. You have a contract, like some form of professionalism. Yes, you have content to create, and it is incredibly difficult to be original and stand out from the crowd. But you still have to have a sense of professionalism. You can't just do whatever you want and get away with it.
Well, maybe Benjax can give us some advice on how to be funny without being crude.
No, you've got to be
crossing that line.
No, you can't. You can't. Being crude is funny. Being racist is not funny.
Is not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That is not funny. As I said, there are times when you can push the point and make it funny and entertaining, but there are certain lines that you do not cross over as a content creator, like ever. You do not do it, and a lot of people on Twitch just don't understand that. And Twitch
I think they do. I think they really understand it. I think what they're doing is pushing Twitch to see exactly what they'll do, because we all know Twitch doesn't really like pay attention, doesn't really care, so to speak. So I think they're kind of just poking Twitch and going, hey, look at this. And then when they do get banned, they go, oh, but why?
Yes.
What do you mean why? You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Same as ASMR on Twitch. Pushing the points, pushing boundaries, and Twitch just turning a complete blind eye. If you've seen the latest
link is in chat. Please view it at your own discretion.
Yes.
Please. Don't blame us for it.
You know, we all think of ASMR, we think, you know, soft, quiet voices, ambient background noises. That's what ASMR is. But unfortunately, Twitch has sort of skewed that perspective.
To a new low.
I mean, there was ear licking and just weird noises. Like, for some people, yeah, that's therapeutic. It's just plain weird and shouldn't be on the platform. But in that video, which I will link in the description, does some extra stuff for entertainment.
It goes to another level.
Value.
It goes lower than it needs to be.
It pushes the point. I'll let you watch the video so you can have the same shock and awe that we all had.
I mean, when you think about ASMR, like you think like waves and campfires, things like you think about those like crackling noises from the fire, things like that. Like you don't think that
the content in said video. Yes, that.
As we say, please view it at your own discretion.
I honestly didn't think that it would get that far. I mean, I kind of did, but I wasn't really ready for it. And
neither was I.
I mean, I laughed very hard when I watched that. Because it sort of
I don't think I laughed. I think I was more like this is there.
Yeah.
This has probably been recommended, and there's.
But I guarantee that nothing is going to happen from that situation.
No.
Like,
oh no way!
She is not going to get banned.
It can't because it's under that category.
Yeah,
and they're allowing it.
Absolutely, they're allowing it. They're allowing like ridiculous stuff over there. Twitch needs to pull their fucking head in and get their shit together.
It's getting like what is next? Like you have to ask, what's the next phase? Like it's a scary thought to go down that pathway.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think once Twitch gets to that point, it's over. It's finished.
If you want to know what's next, all you got to do is follow Amaranth. She's probably the one that's going to figure it out. Everyone's just going to go from there. So
it's going to be a farmyard spa stream. She's not going to know which category to put it in. So They're just good. Twitch is gonna make up a new one for her.
It's like what is AMSR? MRANT sound more recordings, stream more recordings. Like, I mean, it's like they're crossing a fine line. They really are.
Yeah.
That line is just creeping underneath them more and more and more, and they're so close to just over that line, and it's.
But instead of dealing with all the problems that Twitch has, they have decided to take another route, which is their MO. That's what they like to do. They are updating their username policy and will actively start deleting names that go against it.
I mean,
usernames on the chopping block. Usernames on the chopping block include references to sexual acts, arousal, fluids, or genitalia. References to hard drugs, excluding alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana. So your username could still be Weed King XX or some shit. Like, that's fine. But yeah, I did see some examples of if you were to use your actual name as your username, where genuine names can get banned. Wow. So that's going to be an interesting one. So they're gonna, it's like a multi-stage process that the username will be kind of suspended and will keep being suspended until action is taken about that username. Either it will be deleted or it will be renamed or whatever. Pretty much they're putting it up to the user to do that, but after a certain amount of time, I believe they're just going to wipe it.
Yeah.
But if you want to have some fun, prior to that, the new policies won't be enforced until March 1st. So if you want to see
hard in that program,
want to try and push the line before they start enforcing policies, I'm not encouraging you to do so, but it would be funny.
My point, or my thought on this pattern entirely is, isn't this something that should have been done back there, like years ago?
Oh, you mean like many years ago when people started creating usernames?
I mean, shouldn't it have been done back then, not now 10, 15 years down the track going,
we got a mess.
We didn't look at our username policy. Maybe we should tweak that a little bit, eh?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, we've let people create offensive usernames. What are we gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it just highlights the train wreck that's. It is. That's exactly what it is, Benjax. It's a train wreck.
Which always good for a laugh. Every week they never fail to surprise us.
Oh, don't worry, I'm enjoying it.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
It makes great content for us. We love it.
It does.
Yeah. On something completely different. Microsoft is hinting at a change for the Xbox store. The current store model takes 30% of all sales, as like what Steam does, but aims to take a mere 12%, matching that of the Epic Games Store.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a big step.
That means we might get games at real prices, not this bullshit inflated stuff.
No, sorry. Over here in Australia, we're just going to get screwed regardless. I guarantee our prices are not going to change. No, but like indie game prices will obviously drop a little bit, or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just stay the same.
I mean, I wouldn't want indie game prices to drop, to be fair.
No, I mean, indie game prices, I think, are priced very fair. It's the AAA titles.
Absolutely.
There is no need for a game that came out 12 years ago to still cost $100 on the Australian Xbox store. I'm sorry, no.
I mean, that poses a question though. At what point should we start seeing a drop in prices? Because I mean, you can look back to games from last year, and they're still full price. Like,
Yeah.
At what point should we start seeing them just go, okay, yep, that's had a 3-month lifespan. We've got to drop it down. 6 months, there you go.
Yeah. But like
6 months, drop it 10%. That's all you got to do.
It's the argument I've always had, and I will always freely have this argument, is that everywhere else, games are priced according to the exchange rate. Kind of. Thereabouts. So basically, like what Steam does, where it regionalizes the pricing based on the original intended price. That's not what happens over here. Over here, like it could cost $60 in the US. It theoretically should only cost like between $80 and $85 over here, considering it's a digital game and there is no import tax. But it costs $100 flat, regardless of what AAA game it is. Like $100. That's an absolute joke. And we've been conditioned and have been conditioned for a very long time to overpay for anything that comes from overseas. And
but should we not see a price drop though? Like after 6 months, should we not see the price drop to, say, the base of whatever US is? So if it's $60 US and it becomes $60 Australian, should we not see that at some point?
If it's on the same generation of console, they won't do it. Like, they will not do it. But yes, I agree. Like, we should have price drops. Like, after a certain amount of time. You see it in stores. Like, after a certain amount of time, it just loses its value and the price goes down because they need to move those copies. They need to sell them.
Well, one thing that bugs me with the electronic store is like a game from last year. You'll see it go on sale this year, and you're like, oh, it's on sale because they've paired it with another game and they're trying to charge you more than what the original price was.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why? Like, if you can do 2 games at, say, $50 each and make the whole bundle $100, why can't you do that base game at $50? Like, it makes no sense.
Well, and the thing with games is we're looking at, like, it's a digital download. So there is no, like, supply issue with it. Like, as many people can download it. Whereas when your example with, like, you know, games in a store, like, those would go down price because they need to push them out. They don't worry about running out of stock. So these AAA publishers will just be like, well, we'll just keep it at maximum profits because if anyone wants it, then we're going to get the most profit out of that. And if they really want it, they're going to pay for that anyway. And so they just sit there because they care more about lining their pockets than helping the consumer.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can travel between 2 different stores, 5 minutes apart, right? One will have it at $99.95. The other will have it at $79. Same physical copy. Why? Why is
greed? Corporate greed.
It is. Absolutely.
It's corporate greed. That's 100% what it is.
But it also raises the other problem of why is it that I can go into a store and buy a physical copy of a game that's gone through a manufacturing process, it's gone through shipping, import taxes, all of that, cheaper than I can buy a digital copy of a game.
Greed.
It's exactly that. It's corporate greed. And this is what Microsoft is going to try and change from what they're saying.
Well,
prices should technically drop 20% or thereabouts, 18%.
If prices drop 18%, I'll be stoked, right? Because then it'll be more reasonable for us over here. But you watch, it won't.
Well, I mean, if you think about
over here, it won't.
But you think about it, say it's 20% on the $100. That's, you know, $20 off. So it brings it back to the 80, which is where we should be anyway.
Yeah. Where we should
based around the US dollar. That's where we should be. So
all right. So let's say that happens, right? They take the 18% off, right? The current $99.95 that's standard in the store. We then pay what we should have been paying prior. But now we're overpaying still.
No, because like they said, they want to change the Xbox store, not the retailer. So the retailer will still have their own profit margin. The store would technically become cheaper. So they'll flood people to the digital market, not the physical market.
Yes,
and
but if you say
stems,
take the American copy of the game, which would be $60 US, right?
Mm-hmm.
You take the 18% off that, right? You convert. What do you mean no?
Because that's not the way. That's not what it's doing. Because they pay the base plus their tax on top of that. They pay a tax on top of their game. So even though it's 60, it works out.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah, it's like 71 or $72, something like that. 68 or something weird.
Like here in Florida, it's a 7.5% sales tax.
Oh, there you
some
go.
states have 5%, some have like 8%. So there's different sales tax all over the place. It's actually very, very complicated.
Yeah, I don't know. We use it with iRacing as well. It's hard because, even though I'm in Oz, I've still got to pay the US dollars plus the sales tax, even though I'm in Oz. So it's really weird on that system. But the overall consensus of the game is, I think it's going to be targeted more towards eliminating the physical discs, the physical copies, because that is such a high drain on the market and on the industry. Well, to get those discs out in a certain time frame, where a digital copy, they can just bang it on the store straight away. But this also stems back to the GameStops, the EB Games that do pre-owned stuff, because those developers are then not getting the money off that second purchase of the game. That goes purely to the business.
Yeah.
So what we're going to try and see is a direction where Microsoft or we may even see PlayStation take this on as well, and potentially even Nintendo will start trying to eliminate how the greed in the physical discs or physical copies can be controlled a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're going to see is, like, for us here in Australia, if we see this 18% come off, that's going to pull us back in line with the standard US prices of the game. Yeah. And I think that's where we need to be.
But that's if that happens. I mean, this is all about Xbox taking 12% cut instead of 30% cut. So it could be the game developers may be like, oh, okay, well, we'll just keep the price the same in the store and we'll just take a little bit extra money. They could do that if they wanted to.
No, because the developers don't list the game. Microsoft lists the game,
but they justify the price.
Because Microsoft justifies the price, because otherwise we would pay DICE or we would pay EA, we would pay this. We actually pay Microsoft. Then Microsoft take that.
There are games out there. For it. There are games out there about as entertaining as a pet rock, and they are like $30. Yet you'll get a game that has value, substance, and all of this content. For half the price.
Yeah. Because that's the contract that's been negotiated with the developer and Microsoft. Microsoft pay developer X amount of dollars for said game. Microsoft then go and list game on store to recover said money. So that difference there will be what we pay. If they say they're going to take less, that means they're not going to charge the developer as much. They're going to take less in that aspect, which means they'll be able to decrease the prices. In theory, that's how it should work. Whether it does or not, we'll have to wait and see. But if it does work for Microsoft, I will just about guarantee that PlayStation and a lot of those start going the same way. And this is probably all stemmed back from the Apple saga with Epic.
Yeah, and it has, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see a flow-on effect.
Because the standard was 30%. Everyone took 30%, including Apple. And if Xbox start doing this, I guarantee, as you said, Sony will be very close behind, because they're going to be like, oh, no, we don't want to miss out on this. Or they're going to be like, up yours, Xbox, we're going to do our own thing anyway. But it raises an interesting topic of what will Apple do when they supposedly released their gaming console. Are they going to stick to the 30 like
Apple.
they just do, or?
Well, I mean, Apple's already been kind of screwed
Apple
in that
doesn't take
aspect
more,
because
to be honest.
if, say, Call of Duty was to go onto the Apple console, because of the system that's already gone through with Epic and now they've got approval that you can put your own in-game store in there, I could see that, games and stuff would actually have their in-game store on the device, so Apple then wouldn't really get access to that.
Oh, yes, but
that
Apple
side
doesn't
issue.
like other people having stores and making money.
Doesn't matter. The court says they have to suck it up.
I know. But
it poses an interesting question, though.
Yeah, it is very interesting. It'd be interesting to see how it all turns out. But apparently, it's a 7-stage process, and it'll take time to bring it all out. But eventually, we'll see that come to fruition. But speaking of Call of Duty, after Xbox's recent acquisition of Activision Blizzard, there's been a lot of talk about whether Call of Duty, which has exclusive early access content on PS5, would still be treated as such or just become an Xbox exclusive. Thankfully, Xbox has come out and said that they have no plans to remove Call of Duty from PlayStation and will honor all existing contracts, which they've stated before via prior acquisitions, which is good. I mean, they're willing to uphold all contracts, which means Sony will still get exclusive early access content until said contract expires, and then it's a free-for-all.
But they're also saying they're not going to make anything exclusive. It's still going to be open after those contracts. They're still going to be producing games on multiple platforms.
I mean, it's Call of Duty. It's just one of those games that you wouldn't have as an exclusive.
But no, it's all things. I mean, they're even going to try and get Switch, Call of Duty onto the Switch and stuff like that. So it's going to try and branch more out. They're going to try and push it out to more things. So I think what you're going to see is, I think Sony will get their exclusives, but I think Xbox are just in that concept with the way they house it all is they're still going to make money off Sony. Sony's still going to pay Xbox for Call of Duty. Nintendo will pay Xbox for Call of Duty. It'll be, do you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to take anything exclusive and say, no, we are the powerful one. They're just going to say, no, it's in our Game Pass. If you want it, you've got to get our Game Pass on your console. Right? So again, you start branching into that system. So I can see a little bit of diplomacy playing out with that.
Ramirez,
and again, Ramirez just touched on that subject. Yeah, Game Pass on PlayStation and Switch.
There was actually talk about that last year, about Game Pass ending up not necessarily on PlayStation, but more likely on Switch, because Xbox and Nintendo are fantastic bed buddies together. And
I wouldn't count
like
PlayStation out of that.
No,
I wouldn't count PlayStation out.
It's very unlikely
because I think it could be used as a tool. Yeah, it's unlikely, but I could see Xbox using it as a tool to just get Game Pass there. I could just see them doing it. Because some PlayStation owners have a PC as well. Or why couldn't they use Game Pass on the PlayStation?
Yeah.
Why, and have the same thing so their Game Pass covers their PlayStation, their PC, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it could be integrated somehow with, the multi-platform titles like Rocket League, for example. Somehow.
I mean, obviously they wouldn't be able to put an Xbox game on it directly. An Xbox game would have to obviously be a PlayStation, spin-off of that same game, so it'd have to be the it depends if Game Pass goes to the cloud as well, because you could do a lot of cloud-based gaming from the PlayStation.
What if theoretically what if you've got a PS5, you were able to purchase Xbox Game Pass, you were then able to use xCloud to stream that game to your PS5.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't put it past Game Pass generically being on the PlayStation.
So you could end up playing Halo legitimately on your PlayStation.
But you could probably only play it with PlayStation players. Because I don't think the cross-platform would link through that sort of system.
Yeah, I mean, that would be one of those technical things that they'd have to iron out. But that's how I would see it working, if anything.
Yeah.
It would use more cloud gaming than actually downloading the game to your console of choice.
So I wouldn't put it past Game Pass coming to PlayStation.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't. And I think if Nintendo can get it and they can prove that it's working and it's fundamentally a good thing, I think Sony would be stupid not to jump on that bandwagon quickly.
Yeah.
And go, hey, Microsoft, slap it over here. How many PlayStation players are there? You know, there's tons of them.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone kind of wins in the end.
Oh yeah, it's for the. I mean, I guess. I mean, in the face of Game Pass going to PlayStation and Switch and everything else, you could use the PlayStation logo, couldn't you? For the player, you know, it's there, it's right there. Yeah. The cliche is already written in the book, isn't it? It's already there.
I mean, it would be an extraordinary collaboration. But I'm thinking, would a lot of people see that as Xbox trying to dig their claws into everything, like trying to hold like some form of monopoly?
You're going to see that no matter what.
Yeah, you're
going to see that no matter what. I mean, look what they said when they put it on the PC. Oh, it's just another way for Microsoft to control what I do on my PC. No, you still got the choice. You don't have to buy the fucking thing. You don't have to use it. But you know what's going to happen. You know all those, I guess, too goody, like those guys over there are going to go, oh, it's just Microsoft. You know they're going to look at it. You know they're going to be inquisitive. The seed of curiosity will get them involved. And they'll be like, oh, you know, like 2 weeks ago I said this was a bad idea, but yeah, I've kind of looked into it and it's actually really cool. It's like, you know, you just got to put the seed there and let them think about it. And then they'll start going, not such a bad idea.
It could work.
Oh, 100%.
It could definitely work.
And I mean, look, if PlayStation doesn't decide to go that way, then they're probably going to lack like they did with Minecraft for so long until they got on board with it.
Yeah.
And speaking of Sony, they have teased this week of a major breakthrough in AI and are collaborating with Polyphony Digital on a super secret project. So God knows what that means. They really haven't teased anything. In the teaser trailer itself, it was definitely racing focused, as it would be. Polyphony Digital do Gran Turismo 7 and priors, but yeah, I mean, if you're announcing a breakthrough in AI, like have they stumbled upon something that no one else has done before? Have they actually...
Is it a breakthrough in AI, or is it just a breakthrough for Sony AI?
It's I mean, either or. It is Sony AI, but
let's not forget and wind back the clock just a little bit. When Forza had drivatars, that was a breakthrough in AI as well.
Yes.
Because you could it would learn what you did throughout X races, and then that became your drivatar in the game.
It used to learn what you did in races.
Yeah, it used to. That's what I'm saying. They stopped it.
It doesn't do it, and I really wish they'd bring that back. Like,
So have Sony cracked that feature? Have they figured out a different variant of that?
Robot racer.
Well, no, what used to happen?
We don't need the perfect robot racer, but we need something that can react to what you're doing,
right?
In a more natural sense, instead of you're driven too close to another car and they've just slammed on the brakes. Like,
was it Horizon 3 they did at speed? I think it was, wasn't it?
The drive
3, yeah. It was 3. Yeah. So what used to happen, Yakes, is you used to run like 4 races, and the AI would actually learn like your driving technique. You know, if you were smooth and consistent, and then what would happen is when your friends or whatever actually went into a race, your drivatar would be there and it would perform exactly as you performed as a driver.
Yeah.
So it was really good in that aspect. But then it got somewhat too complicated and they stopped doing it for some reason. And I don't know why. There was never any reason why they just stopped using drivatars.
The problem was
it was a breakthrough in AI.
Yeah, it was absolute breakthrough. But they only grabbed that information early on in the game. So like even if
because they stopped using it
better at the game, they only grabbed a small amount of information from how you drove when you first started playing the game. So
that's right.
that was it. So regardless of whether you got better, that didn't matter. Like that was your drivatar, which was kind of silly. Like you couldn't sort of reset that AI and gather.
I'm just wondering if Sony's cracked something around that kind of AI system. Because you could imagine that kind of AI system in, say, Gran Turismo, or even, you know, motorsport or iRacing, in that aspect, if you're using an AI type system, having pre-programmed drivable or drivatars, so to speak, would actually be a really cool feature if they found a way to unlock that properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be a really good feature.
I think it would be. I mean, because, you know, you could go up against a whole grid of drivatars, so to speak, and they would all perform in their own individual ways. You know, you could have a handful of drivers that brake late and hit the apex later on, or.
But what it would cause would be consistency.
It would be more realistic.
Would be consistently acting the same way, track in, track out, car in, car out. They'd be acting the same way.
Yeah.
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 I think that'd be a good thing if they've found a way to unlock that.
Yeah.
But we'll have to
watch that space.
Whatever happens to that. Yeah. I've lost where I was up to. I've gone back and forth that many times in my list. Mark Zuckerberg. Holy crap.
Wow. He's in a world of trouble.
He can't do anything right at the moment. So after his recent 20% plunge in the stock market, losing $200 billion for the company, it looks as though long-time investors are finally pulling the pin, some of whom have been supporting the company for 20 years. Like, that's mad.
The guy who he was talking to, who helped fund it in the dorm room back in college, has pulled the pin, has walked away.
Wow.
Like, that's big. Like, he stuck around through all of the shit.
Yeah. And now he's just gone, nah, too much of a risk.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Jeez.
So like, after that announcement, the stock market for Meta just kept going down. It was absolute nosedive over 24 hours.
There is a current court case in the EU in regards to the data and how it's captured and how it's used. Facebook may not be in the EU for that much longer. There's also a case here from Australia as well, where is potentially looking at taking further action against Zuckerberg. So, yeah, Facebook's in a world of trouble right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Zuckerberg is. Yeah.
I mean, Zuckerberg's gone from, like, what was it? One of the top 10 richest people in the world.
Yep.
To now falling well below that. So he's one of the normies.
Nvidia's
now.
worth more than Facebook. Nvidia's worth more than Facebook now.
Yeah, I mean,
ironically enough,
that introduces a problem. Like, if he keeps losing money and Meta keeps losing money, at what stage do they pull the pin on their so-called metaverse? Or, you know, when do they be like, okay, with Facebook clearly going to cost more than it's worth. Get rid of it.
The metaverse is causing its own stir. I've read a couple of trials out of the metaverse, and it's not a good environment, to be honest. Some horror stories coming out about sexual harassment in the virtual world, things like that. It's not a good place to be right now. So I'm not sure if it's actually going to take off or not, but I think the way Zuckerberg is right now, I think a person in his position becomes very dangerous.
I mean,
when you lose so much, you become very dangerous.
It's always going to come with its problems, though. If you're looking at
100%.
some sort of large-scale plaza-esque sort of online community, it's going to fail. I mean, Sony tried it. That failed. Like, that failed hard. And that is never coming back. Because you're openly inviting all of these people to interact with each other. I mean, take VR chat, for example. Like, I'm sure there's some stuff on there that would just absolutely blow your mind.
You don't want to know about that.
I can imagine.
No, I'm just talking. Like, I've been on VR chat. I know what the hell's out there. Like, and I barely scratched the surface of VR chat. I just went on there. I was just like, "What's going on?" And it's like, "Oh, this is what's going on."
But but that's what the virtual metaverse is going to be like. Like, they can't escape that. It's going to happen.
Oh, 100% it's going to happen. Like I said, there's already horror stories out there. Just like Google metaverse horror stories, and they just pile up. It's ridiculous. And this has only been out a short space of time.
Yeah. Yes.
And people being like cyberbullied and everything in the rooms, and it's ridiculous. It's out of control. And I think we've kind of seen the height of Facebook / Meta already, and I think we're going to now see the very low of it. And I think if things aren't kept under control and he doesn't look at the legal side of the data consumption, how they're using it, he's going to find that he's just going to go downhill fast. I know for a fact that he only gets, like, he doesn't actually take a wage from Facebook and stuff, so he makes his money off the investors and shit like that. So technically, even if Facebook takes a drop, he's not losing money. But it's still got to hurt when you have an investor from 20 years who backed you from the start just say, "Hey, yeah, see you, bud. not for us anymore." Like that itself has to.
I'm gonna head out. Nope.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so that has to hurt. Like, it has to be a problem, and he's got to start looking at that as a thing. Like, he got caught by one of the was it one of the parliament people over there? Like, they said to him, you know, like, "You're using everyone's data," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm basically selling it." And so the person said to him, "So, what hotel were you in last night?" And he's like, "Why would I tell you that?" "Well, you're taking it from everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're using their data. Tell me your data." And he's like, I'm not going to tell you." Well, then, you know, now people are starting to cotton on to, okay, so you're using it you're using us to make you money, but yet you're not, you know, so it's posing a big threat to the business model. And I think you're starting to see that taper off. And I don't know. I think he got too greedy, and I think he bit off more than he could chew, and then the problem is now he just can't deal with it.
I mean, this could send a domino effect into action, where now one of the big guys has stopped investing.
Yep.
There may be more following suit, and if more follow suit, he's in a whole world of shit.
I mean, if it was a recent investor who'd come on and then said, "No, not for us," I mean, he'd probably flog it off. Yeah, whatever. Piss off, don't need you. But a long-term investor, that's got to spell bad news.
That's not good. And just to wrap everything up, one final story. After being in development for 8 years, of which I totally forgot that this game existed, to be perfectly honest, Dead Island 2 looks like it may be launching this year.
I didn't even know they were making another Dead Island game.
I
Yeah,
remember it after seeing the article. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing. Yeah,
it was
8 years ago they announced it.
It was originally scheduled to be launching on the Xbox One as an exclusive.
Wow, we've gone through an entire generation of console, and it still hasn't come out.
So that was where it was originally scheduled to be there, and it never showed up. It just died off in the wind. It just gone.
But the thing is, it didn't die. It's been in active development ever since.
I think what happened is they lost a lot of money. Like they lost a lot of people and the money to do it, and then it just slowly built, and now they've gotten that flow-on effect, and now they're starting to see it. So I think we've probably got a good chance of seeing it this year. I'd really love to see it.
I would love to see it.
They were a lot of fun. The Dead Island games are a lot of fun.
It looks like a quarter-full release. So later this year, I'd say around about Christmas.
It'll be fun.
We may see the launch of that. We may see a trailer for it at E3. Most likely.
E3 would definitely be worth watching.
Yeah. But that's it. That's it for this week. So it's been quite a bloody week.
I'll just drop one more link in the chat. Let me grab one more link. We didn't get to touch on it today, but please feel free to check out the Nintendo Direct link there in chat. See what Nintendo's doing, bringing to the Switch. A lot of good things in there. Not going to lie, there is a lot of good things in that show. Did enjoy watching a lot of that. So if you are a Nintendo fan, definitely check out the Nintendo Direct link there, and
we can we can cover that next week if people want us to do that.
We'll definitely have a look at that if you guys want it. Let us know in the Discord. Discord link is there in the chat. Definitely drop us a link. Let us know what you're looking forward to out of that Nintendo Direct as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let us give us some feedback.
Please.
What you'd like to see, what you'd like us to chat on.
We'd love
if you'd
some
want to come be on the show. If you want to be on the show, come and drop your name in the community guest or reach out to one of us three there in the Discord.
Yes.
And we'll definitely arrange to get you on the show and come and get your opinions and views as well. This is a show for you guys, so please don't think that you're not welcome or you can't offer any insight, because you can, and we do want to hear it.
We sure do.
Anything that you guys want to talk about, if you want us to hit it up and you want to join in, by all means, do so. If
you want to talk about your favorite game or a new add-on coming or something like that, definitely hit us up.
Yeah.
And we'll.
I got one.
What do you got? 9.5.2 is coming.
Yep, it's officially coming on February 22nd. Finally,
good son, plug it. I mean, you can't plug your Bathurst 12 out the winter ship, but you can plug WoW.
Oh no, I know. Actually, I don't want to talk about that. We're not talking about the Bathurst 12 hour. Not, but we can talk about the hype that is patch 9.2 finally making its way to the average consumer that doesn't play PTR.
Anyway, that's going to do it for us today, guys. We do appreciate you joining us for today's show. All appropriate links will be in the description of the video. And we hope to catch you next week. So until then.
Sure do.
Have fun.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.